This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well. It really does not matter who the host is. Yes, that is so true. Today is Friday, April the 30th of 2021, day 120th of the year, and only 245 days left to go. So I guess there is some time for us to do what we still need to do around here. So how are you doing? Seriously, like, how are you doing? I was giving some thoughts to a lot of things as we were going through the overnight and all that kind of fun stuff. Been off and on roughly, we'll call it 3 a.m. my local time. Just kind of giving some thoughts to some things here. And, you know, I have to tell you, we're going to probably start this off talking slightly different. It's interesting on how we get so accustomed to formatting and we get so accustomed to just talking and doing the news and playing this and playing that. And maybe sometimes, you know, it's not about the repetitiveness of things. It's not about doing it in that particular format. It's not about doing liner drops at the moment that you expect them. It's not about doing all these other things. And maybe we should start doing things differently because that's what we tend not to do in our common life. It seems to be that way. I mean, think about it for a moment. Think about how your structure is set up right now. And, you know, it does make things simple in regards of doing that. But imagine if we didn't do it in that particular format. Yeah, I know. It's like, what the hell are we talking about this morning? Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. You must make time. That's what we're talking about. And yeah, you know where I'm on. You know I'm on Safety FM. You know I'm on Radio Big. But let's do it different today than any other day.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So yeah, let's go main story starting off right out of the bat because that's where my mind is at this morning. So let's start talking about those things. Let's start talking about the things that we tend to forget about. We tend to forget about all this important stuff. And let's be realistic. This applies to all of us. And don't worry, I'm not going to drop out all of a sudden in a moment's time, just in case. But let's think about this for just a brief second. We need to start making time for a lot of things in our life because we tend not to do so. And that's the fun part. You, regardless of what career you have, you, regardless of what you're doing, we tend to forget about this luxury that is not truly a luxury that's known as time. Yes, I'm going to talk about it right now. Time stops for no one unless you're dead. Sorry, but that's the reality of the situation. And it's not that time stopped for you. You stopped for it because you're done. Let's take the doom and gloom out of the whole thing. But let's realistically start having a conversation. I know that you have to work. I know that I have to work. But listen, there are other things inside of your life that also need some of your time. Work is important. Life is important. Your family is important. Your significant other is important. So these things need to be a focal point. We talk about things all the time that are going on inside of the news, things that are happening inside of the world, but look at it from a different standpoint for a moment. Seriously. We don't know when the next gun violence occurrence might occur. We don't know when the next accident might occur. We don't know when the next event might occur. We see news all the time about these things. If you don't start making time right now for things that are important for you, when will you start doing it? I can tell you I have traveled the road up and down the U.S., and I will tell you I have had more failed personal relationships because of that time on the road, things that I was doing while I was driving down the road and not focusing on other things that needed attention. And I can tell you that during the lockdown and during the pandemic, if you've been locked up for a long period of time, things have changed dramatically. There has been an intersection between your personal life and your work life on how things are combined in one spot. I mean, and I know that we can go through that whole conversation where people believed in that whole bullshit that you left work at the door when you got home or vice versa, which there's really not a reality to that. But think about this for a moment. Think about you actually taking the time of investing time in the people around you. Do you do that? And I know we can talk about work-life balance, which a lot of people used to use this phrasing and this wording and so on, but is that something that's real? Because here's the gig. If you don't start making time for the people around you, someone else will. Yeah, someone else will. And that's the portion that people tend to forget about. It's easy to turn to things that are like the bottle. There is easy for people to turn to drugs when certain things are not being met. And it's kind of a weird conversation to have. Let's be realistic. And yeah, I'm saying this on the air, because this is the conversation that you and I always have. It's that open and honest relationship. I will tell you, we will always have that. You will never have to worry on where I am at or what I am thinking about, because you and I will always have that discussion. I don't tend to shy away from things that other people do. That's not the reason I do it. But I think that for us to be able to have a better understanding of each other, we have to be open with each other. If we're not, we're kind of wasting our time. Sorry, but it's the truth. You let me in to a personal view of what you have going on. I do the same thing, vice versa over here. But let's start talking on how important it is to make time for succession planning. It has to be for the different things that are going on. I think that's what we tend to do, or better saying not tend to do, is that we don't focus so much on other things. Present company included. Let's make sure that I'm clear here. If I don't set a priority of spending time with my kids, well, that devalues what I bring to the relationship to my kids. Then all of a sudden I have to compete with internet, television, and other things. Not that competition's not there, but those are the things that will occur. The same thing occurs with relationships that you're building with other people, spouses, relationships that you're building with friends, business colleagues, and so on. Think about it. Anything that you want to see grow, you have to actually put time into. You probably went to school for a period of time to learn something that you did not know. You probably started a job and didn't have certain understandings about portions of the job. You took time to get it to grow. The same thing occurs. You have to start making time now. Listen, let's be real. I don't care if it's time that goes away that you have to put aside from what you listen to on this show, but there has to be a good balance on how you're spending your time. I try to do this early enough where we can spend time together. We also do a recorded format, of course, that you can listen to on a podcast. But that's the thing. I know advertisers are going to hate me for saying shit like that, but hey, whatever. This is not the important part. The important part is what you and I are conversing about right now. If you don't make it a priority right now, what's going to happen down the road? Or should I say value based on if you heard the other show this morning? I think it's such a serious thing to talk about. It really is, because I think that we tend to forget the importance of relationship building. We tend to forget the importance on spending time on what is important to you. And if you're only spending time at work, then what? Don't get me wrong. Work normally provides a way of living, but if you're trying to build a structure of life or relationships with others, you have to invest time into it. Listen, you can be a recluse. We talk about that all the time here. But what is it going to do in the long run? That's something I want you to think about today. And that's something that we need to start talking about. And that's something that we need to start looking at changes as we go down the road, opposed to it just being the whole sequence of, well, everything is happy-go-lucky, and let's just continue to work, because that's what some people do. When things are not going well, they focus on work. When the chips are down, they focus on work. And work is not going to be the solution to everything. Sorry, got to share it with you. Think about it for a moment. Invest your time on things that seem important to you. Now, think about this real quick. If you've been in a relationship, if you have children, these kids, this relationship, the people that know you know what you invest your time in. So if you're not investing your time with them or with things that you claim that are priorities, I think some people might have some questions. That's something to think about this morning. But what do I know? Should I just say I'm just a psychologist who's behind a microphone? Oh, no. I should probably just say I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. Authorities in Israel say at least 44 people have been killed and dozens more injured in a stampede at a religious gathering. The crush happened at Mount Meron in the northeast of the country, where the Lag BaOmer celebrations were taking place. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's called it a great tragedy. Noah Spiegel's a correspondent for the Haaretz newspaper.
It's a horrible morning here in Israel. Huge disaster here in the Meron mountain. Thousands of people came back to the mountain to celebrate the holiday, and it just ended up in the middle of the night in a horrible disaster. A huge amount of people who was going down the stairs. The crowd was very, very close to each other, and there was nowhere to go there. They were just falling on each other.
Help from all over the world is arriving in India. On Friday, 400 oxygen cylinder and 1 million COVID-19 testing kits landed in the country. It's a time when the healthcare system is crashing and crematoriums are filling up across the nation. Ishan Gerg reports from New Delhi.
Aboard the flight from the US, there are pulse oximeters, oxygen concentrators, and 1 million PPE kits too. The United States says this is one of the many such shipments to arrive here. Ireland too has sent 700 oxygen concentrators. Its neighbour, the United Kingdom, says it's deploying 3 oxygen factories. All this help is necessary as India recorded more than 380,000 cases for 2 days in a row. Municipal officers in Delhi are building makeshift crematoriums as deaths keep mounting due to a severe lack of beds and medical oxygen. Health experts say the situation could get worse in mid-May when India could record more than 800,000 cases in a day. Ishan Garg, New Delhi.
Brazil has passed 400,000 COVID-19 deaths as its vaccination program struggles to accelerate. There's been a slight fall from the highs of deaths and cases, but there were still over 3,000 fatalities recorded in the last 24 hours. South Korean President Moon Jae-in is set to meet with US President Joe Biden at the White House on May the 12th. He'll be the second foreign leader to make such a visit since Mr. Biden took office. Jagruti Dave reports from Washington.
In a statement, Press Secretary Jen Psaki said President Moon's visit will highlight the ironclad alliance between the United States and the Republic of Korea, as well as the broad and deep ties between the governments, people and economies of the two countries. Psaki said President Biden looks forward to working with President Moon to further strengthen their alliance and expand their close cooperation. Japan's Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga was the first foreign leader Joe Biden invited to the White House for a face-to-face meeting. The pandemic has meant that many of the president's meetings with foreign dignitaries have had to be held virtually. I'm Jagruti Dave in Washington.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, so there you go, 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out. Of course we're hanging out, doing the things that we do together. Yes, don't take it all personal as I start talking about some of the craziness as we are 17 minutes past the top of the hour, as I did say. By the way, just in case you did not realize this, we are still broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida. So that's not a doubt anyways whatsoever. You know how it goes.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Okay, so let me tell you about what is trending currently. So let's start talking about that. So new to the video on demand services for this weekend.
Duh.
If you don't have much planned and you're going to stay home and watch the boob tube. So here we go. Trending new to Amazon is Angels and Demons, Flight, Georgia Rule, Jumping the Broom. Hey now, Rio, Shattered, The Indian in the Cupboard, two for free money. There's also, of course, probably some other things. I'm just trying to give you the highlights of what's there. New to Hulu, let's see, The Age of Adeline, Betrayed, Dances with Wolves, Grudge Match, Hannibal Rising, Lucky Number 11. Yes, I did say 11. True Lies. And We Were Soldiers. New to Netflix will be Back to the Future Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Due Date, Fun with Dick and Jane, Mystic River, Open Season, The Lovely Bones, Waist Deep, and Zombieland. Boy, would I actually rearrange some of those. And then, of course, new to HBO Max, just in case if you did not know, 17 again, The Cable Guy, Daddy Daycare, Magic Mike Freeze Willies. Oh, hold on. No. It's Magic Mike and Free Willy. Tenet, Varsity Blue, and When Harry Met Sally. So there you go. That is what is going on across the video streaming services if you're so inclined to watch something this weekend.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so here you go. Connecticut will no longer allow a religious exemption from childhood immunization requirements for schools, colleges, and daycare facilities. Opposing groups say they plan to file a state and federal lawsuit seeking to overturn it. Connecticut is the 6th state to end the policy. The state medical exemption will remain in place. So there you go. Some interesting stuff going on inside of there for sure. Let's continue talking. As of Tuesday, over 200 237.3 million COVID vaccines have been administered nationwide. Over 99.6 million Americans have been fully vaccinated, while more than 143.7 million have received at least one dose, according to the CDC. The total number of cumulative cases in the U.S. is over 32 million, with just over 571,000 deaths attributed to the virus. So there you go. Some information for sure. We're starting to see that increase in number of deaths as we continue to talk about it. And of course, the total cases continue to grow as we speak. I mean, it's still important, the number. Let's talk about it. But it's not as big as it once was as regards of the jumping from one day to another. So let's make sure that we're clear when we're starting to talk about that stuff. So here's the thing, and as we continue to talk about this, because it's going to be an ongoing conversation, at least for the next few months, what do you think about the whole vaccine aspect? Because here's the thing. I've heard people tell me they're against it. I've heard people tell me they're for it. I've heard people tell me that they're against it and then go get the vaccine. I hear people that say that they're for it, but they don't want to get the vaccine. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird mix. How much data do you need if you would actually contemplate actually getting it? And then here's the other thing. If you agree to get it and you go after and get the vaccine, will it be once it is, I guess it meets all the FDA requirements and it's not an emergency release? I'm just asking the question. And do you think that it will end up being something very similar to how the flu shot is, which means it is optional for you? Just a question, and definitely some stuff to think about.
Duh. Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
The officials from the Department of Justice plan to ask the grand jury to indict Derek Chauvin and the three other former officers involved in George Floyd's death on charges of civil rights. The news comes amid reports of the federal officials planned to arrest Derek at the courthouse. Derek at the courthouse if he was found not guilty on all charges last week. Or really on all charges? Okay. Federal authorities have been mounting their own police brutality case against the former cops. And the better part yet is that this, for the better part of a year, this is according to what the Star Tribune has reported. So I don't know if you have been seeing the sequence of events about that, but there you go. So what do you think about it as you do hear it? Some questions for sure must come to mind as those things do come about. Anyways, a high school track coach from Oregon is demanding an end to all mask mandate after one of his athletes collapsed what he believes was due to oxygen deficiency. Summit High School schooler Maggie Williams broke a school record last Thursday in the 800-meter run, and the video of the event went viral when the teen was seen stumbling across the finish line before collapsing to the ground. In a recent interview with Fox News, Laura Ingram Williams said that she suffered a temporary loss of consciousness and believes that the mask is to blame. Coach Dave Turnbull said that it is responsible for these athletes and needs to stand up for their health and safety, which is why he is demanding that masks be removed while athletes compete. Summit High School has not commented on the incident. So let's talk about this because there are some kind of key indicators here. The coach just said that he is responsible for the health and safety of his athletes. You saw somebody or heard of somebody who lost consciousness after actually breaking a school record. So what do you think here? And I know that we're tying in some other things, but this is becoming the question that a lot of people are having related to masks. So my question to you goes around this section. If you get vaccinated, do you need a mask? If you're outdoors, do you need a mask? If you are competing with something, do you need a mask? Because listen to this. We hear those three sections, but we know that the people that do the work that they do day in and day out are going to start asking these questions more and more. Now, what are you doing at your organization when it comes to this? What is the science that you are seeing, that you are using, that you're saying, yes, cool, let's move forward? Just a question for you. Not trying to push the Iggy as we're talking about it, just trying to figure out what needs to take place. So, do you think the mask had something to do with the girl's lack of oxygen? Because let's talk about it. It's very competitive what she's doing. I mean, I'm sure as hell not running 800-meter run unless I'm running away from someone, and that's probably going to be a slow run at this case. But think about it for a moment. Do you think that it was a combination of both things? Something to think about for sure.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
So have you heard about this? Americans feel more alone than ever. Since the beginning of the pandemic, 67% of Americans have felt more alone than they ever have before, according to a new study by OnePoll and MedFriends. Oh, here we go. The poll of 2003 Americans found that 55% feel like they have completely lost their sense of community in the past year, while 62% feel that there is no one other they can talk to about their loneliness or feelings of isolation. Another 46% revealed that they cried for the first time in years during the pandemic. The study also found that the average person lost touch with 4 friends since the pandemic began. The mental health effect of the pandemic has been tremendous, yet it is unclear when it will be properly addressed. So there you go. That's some stuff to think about. Have you seen any of these effects going on with your side? Have you experienced any of this over the last bit? Because here's the thing. I think it is something to talk about. And if you're not comfortable talking to me or talking to a close friend, maybe you'll be comfortable talking to the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. And let me kind of go a little bit more specific here. Know that you are not alone. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or depression or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about experiences from people in your local community whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. You can go to their website, afsp.org. That's afsp.org. Or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. Or text the word TALK to 741-741. Listen, it's so important that you're here. It's so important to talk about the things that you're going through. And if you are struggling with any of this, it needs to be talked about. And I'm going to tell you this news story was not a plant. But we need to start having these conversations. I'm telling you, mental health issues are going to be pretty big post-pandemic when people are willing to talk. And I will tell you, if you have not opened up your locations yet, if you have not opened up different segment of your organizations where people can actually come in and start doing stuff in person, I think you need to start getting prepared for this stuff. I will tell you, in some of the companies that I've worked with, I've actually been heavily involved with HR. So I think that if your HR department is not ready for this, this is probably a combo that needs to start taking place. And you know how we talk about safety fix it, of course, wording coming from Sam Goodman's show of the Hop Nerd. I think it's something that we definitely need to consider as we do move forward. Anyways, let's continue talking a little bit more about some other things. New York City will fully open on July the 1st, according to Mayor Bill de Blasio. He has based the timing on the fact that people have gotten vaccinated in extraordinary numbers and stating that 6.3 million vaccinations have been administered, with more lining up to get the jab. So does fully open means residents will be able to gather and celebrate Independence Day? That will be kind of one of the things to first ask. And the CDC reports that 2.9 million people in New York City are fully vaccinated at this time. So there you go. There you go. So some things to think about. So we're still talking a couple of months away, regardless on how you look at this. So I know that there has been conversation, at least in the U.S., that by July the 4th, you might be able to, be having a barbecue with people and so on. Is this something that you're planning on doing? Now, I will tell you, in the local community that I live in, they are actually putting on events. And I will tell you, there are some tours. We'll talk about comedy tours that are taking place that are outdoors. And I remember a few months back, we showed you some scaffolding, a picture of some scaffolding, if you were watching on the streamer, where you could rent out the top of the scaffold and hang out and watch an event, but you were socially distanced. I think it was like a scaffold, or they called it a pod, or they called it something, held about 4 people. Well, in the local community that I'm in, they're doing it with 2. Is it something you'd start considering? I don't know. That's why I'm asking what you would consider. I think it's pretty interesting, that's for sure, as we are talking about it. Anyways, let's talk about the stock index, and let's get our friend, John Smalls to come in and help out.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, April 30th, 2021. The equities market went on a wild ride Thursday following a series of blowout reports from the top names on Wall Street. Among them are Apple, Microsoft, eBay, and Ford. But the mood was dampened by growing indications of doom for the market. As robust as the growth outlook is, the estimates may be too high because of global chip shortage. More than a few S&P 500 companies have noted the shortage and its impact on future revenue. In addition, talk of higher taxes continues in Washington and added its cloud to the outlook. Friday is going to be a make or break moment for the major indices. If the indices can hold their ground at these new highs going into the close of the week, further upside is more likely than not. If, however, the mood on Wall Street sours and the market moves lower Friday, it could mark the beginning of a correction that has been brewing for months. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
So there you go. Some things to think about for sure. So markets around moved higher on Thursday. The Dow surged 239 points. The Nasdaq gained 31 points, and the S&P lifted about 28 points. Both the Nasdaq Composite and the S&P 500 finished new all-time records. Investors responded positively to a new report showing the economic growth, an annualized rate of 6.4% during the first 3 months of the year. Analysts were predicting the slightly lower number of 6.1. Apple announced that it increased dividends and a $90 billion buyback of its shares during Thursday's session. So there you go. Some things to think about as we do listen to both sides of the equation. Let's talk about this. Don't know how this slid in here, but let's talk about it. Taco Bell's latest promotion revolves around the moon. Yeah, not joking there. Moon edition. So Moon edition. The eatery recently announced that they will be giving away free tacos on May the 4th because it's a lunar event that's scheduled to occur, which being called the Taco Moon. Yeah. According to the press release, over 20 markets will participate in the event. During the T-Bell will give away free tacos from 8 p.m. until 11:59 p.m. The time period during which the taco moon will be the largest and brightest object in the sky. So mark it down, May the 4th between 8 p.m. and 11:59 p.m. Taco Moon. Yeah. All taco people will celebrate of this particular gathering. I am a taco lover. The more tacos I can get, the more I love things.
You are listening to a Radio God. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a Radio God. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, 2 deputies in North Carolina have died from injuries sustained during more than a 13-hour-long standoff at a home in Watauga County. There, 3 others, including a suspected shooter, is also dead. A K-9 deputy Logan Fox died. K-9 deputy Logan Fox died in the scene. Sergeant Chris Ward died after being flown to a hospital for medical treatment, and the 2 other victims, as well as the suspected shooter, have not yet been identified. But also, local news stations said they were a stepfather, mother, and son. What started off as a welfare check Wednesday morning turned into a violent as soon as the deputies entered the home. The standoff between the armed individuals and the officers ended late Wednesday night. So there you go. What can you say when you hear stuff like that? Not much you can say. Initial jobless claims totaled 553,000 last week. While the number is higher than the 528,000 expected by economists, it is a slight drop from the previous week's claims of 566,000. The Labor Department said that 4 weeks moving average of news claims has reached the lowest point since March 2020, when the coronavirus took hold of the U.S. The total number of people receiving some unemployment assistance still is about 16.6 million people. Funny how it changed from how many people were doing it before. That's for sure. So let's continue. Let's get John back in here, and let's talk about what is going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. Vince Lombardi said, "A man can be as great as he wants to be if you believe in yourself and have the courage, the determination, the dedication, the competitive drive, and if you're willing to sacrifice the little things in life and pay the price for the things that are worthwhile, it can be done." What a great quote. I'm not even a sports fan, but I know Lombardi was one heck of a coach. And with quotes like this, I can see why. That is some excellent advice, and it still holds up today. Be as great as you want to be. Believe in yourself. Have courage. Be determined. Be dedicated. And be ready to sacrifice the little things. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of BetterCreditCards.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star, and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open. Don't speak with your mouth full. Keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, so there you go. That's Def Lev. The song's titled I Don't Give a ... So you take it for what it's worth. It is available on Spotify and iTunes. I don't give a fuck. Hey now. Okay, so there you go. There you go. It is 40 minutes past the top of the hour. You are still hanging out with yours truly here as we are talking a little bit about everything going on inside of the news. I have to tell you, I don't know, have you been hanging out in the swamp, taking a look at what's going on over there? I think I want to jump to this real quick. Former President Trump told Fox Business Network on Thursday that he is 100% thinking about a run again in 2024. And that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis would be the top of mind as a running mate. I endorse Ron, and after I endorse him, he took off like a rocket ship, Trump said of the governor. Meanwhile, insiders say that Trump is considering a return to regular MAGA rallies, and particularly to support Republican primary challengers to his foes within the party, like Alaska's Lisa Murkowski, according to The Hill. Ever the businessman, a Trump insider, told CNN that we really got a good planning for these events in 2020, so we will probably use a lot of the same vendors again. So there you go. There you go. So that's going on inside of the world of the swamp. I guess that's going to change some things as we are talking here, for sure. So there you go. I don't even know what to say after that.
Oops. What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, if you're familiar with the nighttime routine of scrolling through your social media feeds one more time before bed, you might be aware of the night mode function that turns your screen from a colder blue lighted to a warmer yellow hue. The idea is that the blue light inhibits the production of melatonin, the hormone associated with deep sleep-wake cycle. Yellow-orange light is supposed to promote a better night's sleep, but does it work? Nope. According to new research from Brigham Young University and Cincinnati Cincinnati Hospital Medical Center, they asked 167 college students who spend at least 8 hours in bed while wearing a wrist sleep monitor. Researchers found that the largely irrelevant whether your phone is beaming out with harsh blue lights or a softer yellow light. It appears that the mental car of messaging and engaging with content and social media is actually the thing that keeps your brain buzzing and can affect your sleep quality. In other words, if you want to sleep better, it's suggested, since you've gotten the first iPhone 3G, stop using your device in hours before you hit the sack. And then do what? I will tell you, I know of people that have that thing in their hand all the time. You can't have a conversation with them. They sleep with the damn thing. They wake up with the damn thing. I don't even know what to think about it anyways when it comes to that particular regard. I know of people that I could text at any point in their life, and within seconds, not minutes, not hours, within seconds, I have a response back because they're always glued to the machine. Unless they're related to me. Then if they're related to me, they respond to everybody quickly, and then they don't have anything to do with me. But that's a whole other conversation that we can have for another day.
Duh.
Anyways, the biggest problem is online security just might be remembering how you secured your accounts. A new study has found that the average internet user has been locked out out of 10 online accounts in the past month alone. The survey of over 2,000 people found that the password reset isn't likely to be the permanent fix either, because 57% admitted they forgot their new password immediately after resetting it. Memorizing passwords is so difficult that 2/3 of us say that we'll forget it unless we write it down. As a result, 58% say that they struggle to feel productive while working remotely. 2/3 also admit that they have actually avoided visiting certain websites or accounts where they have forgotten their passwords. Accounts with lost passwords we most often avoid include personal email, bank accounts, and utility bill accounts, and some version of Hubs. Oh, leave that one out. Normally, people use their children's names for their computer passwords. Elon Musk uses his computer password to name his baby. Well, that's the one thing that's possibly true as well.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
He's the man. It's awesome, funny, random, doesn't make any sense, but it's good.
Jay Allen in the morning on Radio Big.
Okay, so if you want to come and hang out here in the next 15 minutes or so, I will be hanging out on RadioBig.fm doing the things that we do over there, talking a little bit about what's going on inside of the world of music, inside of the world of news, and we'll play some of that music across the lines there if you want to do that as well. Anyways, let's talk about some news of the weird as we continue on this lovely Friday as we are 46 minutes past the top of the hour. It was a great gig, but now the gig is up. Police in Italy say that the slacker didn't show up for work at the Poligris Capo policy for 15 years. Just got paid the entire time, netting a total of nearly $647,000. An unidentified 67-year-old has been charged with abuse of office, forgery, aggravated extortion. Police are also probing 6 managers for allegedly helping him carry out the plot. He was caught when he complained that no one came to his retirement party. Really? Really? Is that really how you got caught? A man has been arrested after faking being in 35 relationships at the same time in order to get lots of birthday gifts. 39-year-old Taksachichi Bagawa of Japan was detained for defrauding 35 women. He had told them all that he had different birthdays. We talked about this before. In order to ensure a constant supply of presents, he met with his victims while working for a company selling hydrogen water shower heads and other products. Also, he has been accused of swindling the women out of $100,000 Japanese yen, or $921 US, worth of birthday presents, clothes, and cash. He also managed to sell shower heads to some of them. Eventually, the women teamed up and reported him to the police. That's a lot of dates to remember in more than one way. So think about it in that particular fashion. I don't know how the dude did it. I couldn't keep up with all that stuff. That's a lot of stuff going on for sure, as we do talk about it. Anyways, before I forget some important stuff, don't forget about our QR code that will lead you to this sign right here, because that's always important. If you're not speaking at any safety events during September the 13th through the 15th, you're more than welcome on picking up our little sign that will actually get you to that portion right there. So there you go. You can post it on your social media, have that hangout. Will be actually taking place at the same time too. That's a good question that comes in right here. What about the presents that he had to give to the 45 women? That's a good point. Maybe the relationship didn't last that long, that he didn't have the time to do that. So maybe that's something to think about. That's for sure. So let's continue talking about some other things as we're taking a look around. It is roughly that time that we should do this, because it is Friday. So every Friday we tend to do this, as I tend to remember or not remember. But let's talk about it. So let's say, for instance, you've been aggravated at some point during this week, or you had a lot of pent-up frustration and you'd like to take it out. I would like to give you 30 seconds on the screen for you to scream and shout and let it all out. I'll give you a 30-second countdown. Make sure you don't do it with the tons of people around you. They might think you're a little cray-cray if you decide to do this. But let's go ahead and do this right now. I'm going to give you a 30-second timer. We will come back after those 30 seconds, and hopefully you'll be able to get it all out of your system before we go. So here we go. Let's start off in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so that's time. Hopefully you were able to get it all out and be able to move forward. with the things that are going on in your life. So there you go. Let's talk about the lottery. No winner for Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $319 million jackpot or a $218.7 million cash payout. So be on the lookout for that, my friends, just in case if you're interested in playing. If not, then don't worry about it. What else do we have going on? Albums being released today. Let's talk about them real quick because it is important if you want to take a listen to some music. Ashley Monroe releases Rose Gold. Crumb with Ice Belt. Dropkick Murphys release Turn Up That Dial. Is that even a thing anymore? Leon Venhall turns out Rare Forever. Royal Blood with Typhoon. Teenage Fan Club, Endless Arcade, and Tony Allen. There is no end. So there you go. Did you hear about this one? Scott Patterson is teaming up with iHeartRadio for a brand new podcast titled I Am All In. For his podcast, Patterson, who is best known for his role as diner owner Luke Danes from Gilmore Girls, said that he will watch the entirety of the show, consisting of 154 episodes, and recap them all to the listeners. Is that something that you'd be interested in? Don't know. Just wanted to make sure that I did share it. Okay, so let's continue talking about some other things. Here we go. Did you hear about this? 10 of the strangest liquor laws in America. This is courtesy to Reader's Digest, so I'm going to share this with you. Jack Daniels is produced in Monroe County, Tennessee, which is a dry county. Yeah, you heard me correctly there. Alcohol is not allowed to be served or sold in New York City before 10 a.m. on Sundays. In Indiana, you must be able to order food with your drink. Mixed drinks cannot contain more than 2.5 ounces of alcohol per drink in Park City, Utah. Wyoming was the last state to set a 21 as a minimum drinking age, which occurred back in 1988. It is okay to be drunk in public in Las Vegas. I think that's much needed. Bartenders are not allowed to give out free drinks in Alaska. Liquor can be served 24/7 in New Orleans. In Alabama, provocative images cannot be shown on labels of alcoholic beverages. And last but not least, the FAA prohibits passengers to pour their own liquor while flying. So there you go. Some news of the strange for sure.
Duh.
Okay, so let's continue talking a little bit more about some other things. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Let's go pretty recent. Back in 2020, UK Prime Minister states that the Britons passed the peak of COVID-19. Little did he know that the true peak wouldn't occur nearly for another year. So there you go. Anyways, let's talk about some birthdays going on today. Travis Scott, rapper, turns 29. Ana de Armas turns 33. Diana Agron turns 35. Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, turns 36. Kristen Dunst turns 39. Johnny Galecki turns 46. Lars von Trier turns 65. So there you go. There's some birthdays going on today if you're so inclined to look at them. Anyways, if you need some reasons to celebrate today, I got a lot of them for you. So National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day, National Bubble Tea Day, National Bugs Bunny Day, National Honesty Day, National Oatmeal Cookie Day, National Prepare-a-thon Day, National Raisin Day, National Military Brats Day, National Hairstylist Appreciation Day, National Arbor Day, National Hairball Awareness Day, and International Jazz Day. Okay, there you go. Quite a few things to talk about if you're so inclined to find out. Anyways, let's talk about a couple more things before I get you the hell out of here. Did you know? Let's not do did you know? Let's go into some whack facts. Here you go. Blue-eyed people tend to have a higher tolerance to alcohol than those with darker eyes. There you go. Kind of continues on to what we were talking about. A static electricity shock zaps your finger when you touch a doorknob is usually between 10,000 and 30,000 volts. There you go. The human body gives off enough heat for 30 minutes to bring a gallon of water to boil. Mice can fit through a hole the size of a ballpoint pen. Think about that for a moment. A dragonfly has a lifespan of 24 hours, and coyotes can outpace roadrunners by 23 miles per hour. So there you go. Some things that you probably did not know. So here you go. Let's talk about some other things real quick. If you need a random joke for today, try this one. I'm writing a letter to Santa today because I don't want to be one of those friends who only reaches out when they want something. Oh, that's a good one. If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. Your rap name is Little, then the last thing that you spent money on. Now go. I'm not sure how much street cred it will give me, but mine is Little credit card bill. Okay, if you need something for the water cooler, try this one. Question, 14% of kids want to do this when they grow up. What is it? Become a zookeeper. So there you go. Some things to think about for sure. Anyways, you have been listening to the Rated R Safety Show, exclusively on RadioBig.fm and on SafetyFM.com or the apps or the streamers. Anyways, Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. We definitely could not do what we do without you. The most important part, the listener. Listen, I appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out, taking a listen to what we have going on. It's always so crucial when I get to spend time with you. If there's anything that we can ever do to help, don't hesitate to contact us, 866-930-SFM1, or go to the website, safetyfm.com. Anyways, if I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Happiness is a place between too much and too little. Think about it real quick, and you know that we're on to something. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part. Enjoy your weekend if you're not going to come and hang out here over the next couple hours with me. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
Duh. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
I don't give a fuck. 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 It's time to start doing the right thing. So trust your instinct. Stop listening to others and own your decision. People will always tell you what to do, opinions how to live. So let's create things for the matters most to you. You'll be glad you did. Now start claiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more. No more. Say it loudly and proudly. In other words, fuck you. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.